Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone that can hear the sound of my voice to this week's edition of the Petty and Ill-Informed podcast, where we give our petty and ill-informed opinion about a variety of topics. Joining me, Tom. Tom, how are you?
Yeah, all right. Well, no, better than all right. I've had the most wonderful day, and I'll drivel on about exactly why that is in just a couple of minutes.
Hmm.
And how's your good self, Richard?
Not bad. Not bad. Doing pretty good, actually, all things considered.
Mm-hmm.
So, what kind of week you have?
Well, just still getting sort of used to the new year, my new team in my class, my school. It's been because we've got 10 kids and for a massive variety of level of need and just getting used to sort of managing everything and working everything out. At the moment, so just at this absolute instant, I'm really irritated by something physically. There's someone slopped something on the kitchen table, and I don't know what it is, but it's slimy AF. And I've cleaned it I tried to wash it down, and then it was still really sticky. And I've tried to soap it and clean it properly, and it's still really icky and sticky. And it's doing my hands in, it's doing my arms in. It's just like the whole thing is just like covered, as if it's covered in a very thin layer of treacle, and it's really rank and it's really irritating. But apart from this, that's a tiny detail. Today's been an absolutely amazing day because anyone who's Facebook friends with me could see it on my wall that 18 years ago, I had a minimal role in being one of the three people who were there on day one when the East Kent Mavericks was founded. That's the American football team that I played for 5 years. And once they got rid of me and once I hung up my cleats in retirement, they actually started getting quite good. And there's some correlation. But anyway, the point is today they had their first ever national final. And American football is very small time over here. There are three divisions, and no one is paid for it. It's all amateur. It's all purely for the love of the game, which means anyone can really pick up and play it, really. And most people can develop enough skills, if they're in it to be a part of a team if they really want it. And they made the final, and they did an absolutely outstanding job, and they won 55-14, which in soccer terms would be about 7-2 or something like that, 8-2 or something like that if it was a normal football thing. Just to give a bit of a comparison, and it's just brilliant. I had my two boys with me. My dear missus was working. Two drove up, and we had just an absolutely wonderful time. I was rooting for them, supporting them. Oh, some people in the crowd had brought vuvuzelas, and they were making an almighty racket. Lucky I had my ear defenders for my youngest kid, but it was great. It was absolutely brilliant. I've taken so many pictures. The whole thing is on YouTube, which is brilliant. And I've been watching a bit of a replay just before coming on tonight, and it's really cool. Just a really wonderful day. Just knowing that what we started 18 years ago came to just the most incredible and beautiful fruition today. Woohoo! So happy days.
Happy days indeed. And Gabby, welcome. Okay. No, she's quiet.
Cooey, Gabby, are you there?
I guess she's muted. Yeah, well, that's really cool. I'm glad that you had a wonderful day. I'm glad that your team won. It's always nice when your team wins.
Yeah, I mean, I felt really bad for the other team.
It's been like 15 years since the Saints won the Super Bowl, so.
No, oh yeah, God, is it? No, it's not that long, is it? God, it bloody well is. It was about. It was about 14. It was 2009 when Drew Brees and Reggie Bush beat the Indianapolis Colts. That wonderful pick six from Tracy Porter. I remember it well.
Yep. The thing that I always loved about that is when Drew Brees took over the Chargers as the Chargers quarterback. I called it back then. I took one look at him and I said he's going to win a Super Bowl one day. And my wife at the time said I was crazy, but
he wasn't very good when he started out. He had a rough start to his career in San Diego, and
well, he was second string for years and years and years. And then,
for 2 or 3 seasons, yes, he was. Then he finally made first team, and he had one really good year on the last year of his contract. And Sean Payton signed him and brought him to the Saints. It's a tragedy that they only made one Super Bowl. I mean, of course there was that terrible playoff loss to the Vikings about 5 years ago. Oh my word, you must remember that. Ugh.
I do. It was tragic.
No, it was ridiculous. I think they had a cornerback called Marshawn Lattimore on the last play of the game. He could not have played it more badly. He just he didn't do anything to take out their player, took out the only other player on the Saints defense that could have stopped Stephon Diggs. It was Stephon Diggs, the Vikings receiver. And he, anyway, never mind. Nightmares are made of that shit. Or dreams, if you're a Vikings fan. Gabby's mic playing up.
I don't know.
Oh,
no, she's there.
Oh, well. Are we on cams tonight then? Why not? Hi, Gabby.
I'm not switching my cam on.
Hello. Hi, Richard.
Yeah,
Hey,
we're
Gabby.
doing good. You all right, buddy? When you sent me a Facebook message last night, Gabby, I didn't properly read it yet. Sorry, I've been too busy enjoying my football, so I apologise for not getting back to you.
Oh my gosh, what did I say to you last night?
Something about you were going to compliment my son on how wonderful he looked in his school uniform, but you couldn't find the right words, and you thought whatever you typed as humor might come out terribly wrong, or something along those lines.
Oh, that wasn't humor. That was totally. I think he looks absolutely adorable. He's just a little sweetie. Congratulations on grade 9, boy.
Thanks.
And I'm glad he takes after his mom.
Fantastic.
He's good looking. I think that you may have. He looks a little small in that. That was what I was trying to say. It's good.
Well, his suit's a bit, yeah. Well, that's what you do. You buy kids clothes at the start of the year, and they hope they grow into them. I've got this denim jacket that my mum got me when I was about 16. I'm still trying to grow into it at age 45. Whenever I put it on and the sleeves, they come down to here. I can hold on to the tips of the sleeves like that because it's so damn low on me. But hey, that was my mum. Bless my mum.
Yeah, we got a grade 9 this year too. High school's a big year.
This is a damn fine beer, by the way, people. It's really, really good.
Dark ale. I do love a good ale. The older I get, the more appreciative of ale I get.
All right. I like this one. It's brewed by Shepherd Neame, who brews Spitfire, just up the road at Faversham. And this one is I've done the brewery tour of Shepherd Neame, and their most well known beer is Spitfire, but it's one of my least favourite. I don't think it's very nice at all. It's not my thing. But they do Bishop's Finger, and they do one called 1698, which is amazing. If you ever have a chance to buy a bottle of Shepherd Neame 1698, and your local branch of Tesco's and stuff should do it. Really, they should send this stuff all over the country. What's Gabby got there? Hoarfrost.
Hoarfrost vodka. If we're gonna be drinking, sure, why not?
Gabby, I must say, I think your hair looks fabulous. It's the best hair I've ever seen on you. Yeah, rocking it, buddy. Nice. style.
I know. I've been using that special Miracle Grow.
It works.
I
I'm
know.
used to you having this short, well, not that different to mine actually, the punky look. Not
Yeah,
that
we know.
I don't, but you do when yours is all coloured and stuff.
Oh yeah, you know, just how it is. So, my cousin Megan and I went on a family vacation to South Dakota, and I got this at the Badlands Distillery, the Hoarfrost.
How strong
So
is that? Because sometimes vodka, go on, 40.
40% alcohol by volume. So what's that? 80 proof?
Yeah, 80 proof and that's 40% is a pretty standard ABV, alcohol by volume, in this country. Most spirits are 40%. If anything is greater than 40%, it's considered pretty strong. The strongest I've ever seen was I've seen some rum that gets ridiculously strong, like 75%. Yeah, what's that one? 105 proof. So that's just over 50%. So there you go. That's getting strong. That I've got, that is strong stuff. Yeah, you want to be very careful with that one.
Have you ever seen a prairie dog?
Sorry?
Have
you ever seen a prairie dog, like in real life?
Yeah, they're adorable.
Oh my God, no, they're not. They're mean and
absolutely adorable.
This
take their cane at you and say, "Get the fuck off my lawn."
This 46%, so that would be what 92 proof or something. Yeah, something 92 proof, I think. Yeah, and this is a whiskey from Morrison's supermarket. They've got an unknown, a mystery distillery to bottle this stuff up and sell it. I sell it under the Morrison's label, I think. Yeah. My dad gave me that just with most of it was already gone, but I'm making it last. I'm not actually a big drinker. You might be deceived for thinking so, but I don't drink a huge amount or particularly often, once or twice a week. So, you've got no Kevin. So I wonder if that means you can't talk about EastEnders, Richard.
Yes, and sadly, it means no EastEnders again this week. It does mean, however, next week we will have 3 weeks to catch up on. So you might want to skip that show, Tom.
Oh, I can actually do some work a bit earlier in the evening. I don't know. I did give it a go a few weeks ago, but it really was not enough to hold my interest.
There's been far too much Lola this week.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I don't even know who Lola is. She's someone she's someone you and Kevin complain about a lot.
Well, she died like a month and a half ago, and it's just dragging on now.
That's what I was going to say. Lola's the herpes.
Yeah, exactly.
You just can't get rid of it.
Yeah.
Once you got it, it's there for life. She's the Paula Sands of EastEnders.
So I was talking with a friend of mine earlier today, and they did not know that I was a massive dinosaur nerd. So just so everyone's aware, I am a massive dinosaur nerd. Okay. Yeah.
You are a dinosaur, you old git.
You're older than me. Shut up.
Yeah, I am actually. Yeah. So Gabby's still showing off her booze. What do we got this time, bud?
What's your favorite dinosaur?
Me, Archaeopteryx.
Ooh.
Bird, flying one, right?
Yes. One with feathers. Although they might have all had feathers, we don't know. Especially in the Cretaceous area.
Yeah, I'm not sure we do. Oh, do you know what I've seen recently? About dinosaurs. Not. It was Chris Packham's BBC series Earth. It deals with cataclysmic events. One of the final episodes does indeed deal, because there's been various. It's not the one that's most notorious is the one that wiped out the dinosaurs, but it's actually all these other things.
Yeah, there's been several mass extinctions.
Absolutely, but what's amazing is the way that they piece together these extinctions by it's remarkable, really. They sort of say, oh, well, those layers of the Andes, those layers of the Andes represent that era, and they correlate with that one of the Himalayas. And if you go back 23 million, if you go back 250 million years or 2 billion years, those ones were together. And but then if you go back, sort of, a different a 2 billion years, then it was those two were together in this landmass over here. They traced and matched the whole geological tectonic plate history of our planet to work out by correlating similar fossil patterns or lack of fossil patterns to point to extinctions that the same. It's amazing. The BBC show Earth explains it all, and what they did in one of the last episodes I saw was they did the meteorite, or what largely accepted to be a meteor that hit. I think it landed somewhere in the West Indies, the Caribbean, Central America. I can't remember exactly, but they explained exactly why they think this meteor is, just based on these geological patterns of sinkholes or something that are a sign of weak rock.
That landed on the Yucatan.
Pardon?
Are you talking about the Chucalupsa or whatever that is that landed in the Yucatan?
I'm not sure.
The one that they said extincted the dinosaurs.
Well, they talked about this immediate blast zone, and then this cloud of sulfur dioxide and dirt that would have just literally covered the entire surface of the Earth and almost completely blocked out the sun. And that's when they just killed all the food chains that supported the dinosaurs. And one of the only things to survive were rats. And because rats survived, the sort of mammalian branch of evolution was one of the big survivors, and that's how we are. That's how and why we're here, because rats survived the meteor that killed the dinosaurs for us. Cool, huh?
Yeah, I can.
Well,
He looked.
Go on, Richard.
well, birds would have survived as well, of course.
Not without the sun.
I don't know. They must have done. Well, some must have done. I'm not sure. I'd probably need to look into it further. But I imagine
there were a lot of animals that survived the dinosaur extinction, because you can tell, because it's a really easy thing, the fossil record, because anything that's above the K2 boundary is after the dinosaurs went extinct, because that's the name of the meteor that hit the Earth, K2. And there's like this layer of sulfur dioxide and everything else, and everything below that is dinosaur, and everything above that is post-dinosaur.
Oh, okay, cool.
There's actually a theory that the dinosaurs lived past the meteor, that some species did, and there's been a search for dinosaur fossils above the K2 boundary for some time.
Mm-hmm. Any luck finding any?
No. I think it wiped them all out. I mean, they were the dominant species, so they would have been hit hardest. So, I mean, crocodiles survived, obviously, and fish survived, and
Chicken.
I imagine, yes, and I imagine birds must have hung on, because there were some parts of Earth that weren't affected that badly. But
Really?
Looked very different back then. I mean, it wasn't Pangea when the dinosaurs were around. It was after Pangea, but the continents were all still pretty close together.
So, have you heard this I was listening to one. They were talking to a geologist, and they were talking about the possibility of there being a mass extinction event for a wave that came out of the Atlantic. That there's evidence for a massive tidal wave, one so high that came out of the Atlantic and made it to like Colorado or something. It was crazy. If anybody's interested in it, I can look more into it.
That does sound pretty cool.
It's been a year. It's been a few years. You know, this isn't my first paranormal podcast to listen to. I'm also into alternative archaeology, and a lot of times the
Alternative archaeology. It sounds about as credible as Donald Trump and his alternative facts.
But see, that's the thing is that Richard, he did it. Alternative facts, and that's the problem, is that the facts that you think are facts aren't really facts, and that's what alternative facts are facts from a different perspective. And there is a lot of fake news out there, and I don't want to get too much into it. I didn't wear my Trump shirt today. That's
fine. Go for it. I don't mind. We can venture our petty and ill-informed opinion about anything. That's the beauty of the podcast.
I told my cousin this one time. We were in a fight, and it was basically about how I don't work. And I said, "You're never going to convince a target of a conspiracy theory that there's no conspiracy, and you're never going to convince someone who's been successful in the system that the system is flawed." And that's kind of where we fall into this one, is that, you're not going to tell me lots of things about things because my experience is way different. Like schooling, I think kids should drop out and go get their GEDs. Spend that time more productively doing something that's going to help them long term instead of staying in the... Tom doesn't like this word. I think American school system is a systematic retardation program, and there is a personality type, not necessarily a intelligence level they're looking for. And they put through this personality type as opposed to the people that should be getting adjusted. A little bit about my story. We had a meeting when I was in kindergarten, and they said we should be moving her ahead grades, but we don't believe in that. And so they kept me. They said, we feel it's more important for her to be among her peers. And that simple decision and that person's belief in that structure and that system, that your age is more important than your intelligence level, really set my life on a downward spiral from kindergarten, right? And it's him and the school board. So that's a conspiracy. It's not a theory, that's a fact, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And so, I watched it, and I watched them. They had to give me special classes because my test scores get them all that federal funding. So they got to put some of that federal funding into classes. So I got all kinds of special programs. Sometimes I was the only kid in the special program, which made me even more weird to these kids in my class, right? I never fit in socially. I think they were trying to get me to snap and come in and start killing people. And I think that's what they're doing to these other kids that aren't as strong. I was lucky I got strong. I was born strong, but these other kids, they ain't doing that. I just spent some time. I'm struggling with my nephew, and he got diagnosed with that ADHD stuff, and they put him on the medication when he was, man, he's been on that ADHD medication since he's 5 years old. And now that he's getting older, he's suffering from depression. And so they put him on antidepressants, the first one being Prozac. And now he's on another of the hardest drugs I've ever seen, Wellbutrin. I've had to pick up this Wellbutrin from the pharmacy. And so I actually started looking into these drugs because he's got depression, and now he's starting to present more like aggression and violence. You know, he's always been a little kooky. So I go in and I look, and it turns out major depressive disorder is a side effect of the ADHD medication that he's been taking. So they put him on the Prozac, and then you find out that when they first presented Prozac to the Germans were like, it's a little too, we don't want it. No, they did not even approve it in Germany. And then this Wellbutrin's a newer drug, but I've been watching documentaries about what it's like to get off those psychiatric drugs, even just the ADHD medication. Even the fact when they started prescribing it. And then you go in and we talk about alternative facts. We're going to get into your alternative facts, okay? Because I was looking at this. What started my research was wondering how many of these school shooters were on some of these psychiatric medication. And it depends on who you ask, because the psychiatrists and the government and things, they're hiding the information. But the information that's available is saying that these mass shootings, these kids are psychiatric patients, and they're either on their medication or they've come off their medication. And these medications cause some of the worst, like, it's easier to come off heroin than some of these psychiatric medications.
Whoa.
I
mean, yeah, America has a strange, I mean, all worlds have this, but America, I think particularly so, has a strange relationship with it's sort of, psychiatric medicines and the medical industry overall, because it's all so privatized and monetized. There's so much incentive to get people hooked on things. I mean, you only have to look at OxyContin and the disaster that was.
That was one of them that we're going on. And actually, when you look into that one, they actually straight said, they came out with a report that said that they knew there was a false report. They went in with a very small sample of people and did the opioid trials paid for by the drug companies, and came out with the saying that they weren't addictive. And then so they started having everyone push these opioids, saying that they're safe, they're not addictive, all this stuff. And so they were actually lying. See, alternative facts. See, their fact is opiates are not addictive, non-habit forming. But the alternative fact is, no, these are the worst drugs, because they took a really horrible drug like heroin and messed with it and turned it into these opioids. This is, I mean, like, I'd rather be on heroin than these.
Well, heroin is an opioid.
I know, but it's less fucked with, because it's not heroin in those pills. It's chemically altered heroin. It's an opioid. It makes it like, it's like, no, the OxyContin, what you're talking about, the hydrocodone, the OxyContin, the oxycodones, the Roxys, they're chemically altered heroin. People turn to heroin from them, and they're not satisfied with heroin.
But yeah, there are people who, there are genuinely people out there. Chicago, I think, was a particularly badly hit town where, they were pushing doctors to prescribe this stuff, and people were like saying, going to the doctor saying, "I've got a toothache." They're prescribed OxyContin, and they become heroin addicts. There's 2 TV series about this. One I have not seen is on Netflix. I forget what it's called. I'd need to look it up. And another I have seen was on Disney Plus, and it's called Dope Sick, and it's absolutely great. It's a really, I thought it was a very good, really well written, really well acted, scripted, performed, and it had a massive aura of believability. And I mean, and the truth could not have been far different because of just what's happened. Just what I've seen in the news backs up what this series says. Let's find I think it might be called Painkiller, the one on Netflix. I think it is. I haven't seen it. It's not meant to be as good. But let's see. I would be surprised if it's like if it's one of the ones that's in the top 10 of ones at the moment or something.
I was watching that Netflix show Making a Murderer the other day.
Oh,
That was really good.
Since you all dropping these documentaries, the documentary I watched was called Medicating Normal. I watched it on Tubi.com. It's free. Mm-hmm. And that led into American Addict and one called The Big Lie, American Addict 2. So those were the three of the really good documentaries I watched about specifically the antidepressants. Making a Murderer. Oh man, that one's so easy. You know they did that.
Painkiller. That's it. Netflix.
Making a Murderer. I was watching this one, and these people got killed, and the cops went out looking in the neighborhood, and this kid woke up, came outside to see what was going on, and got arrested for murder, and they actually prosecuted him. And later on, it was found like it was serious. They found the person who did it, DNA match with someone else who did it. And this kid served like 16 years in prison for murder because he woke up. He was like still in his jammies and his robe and shit, wiping crusties out of his eyes.
I mean, that's how it works in America. I mean, they're not.
There's a problem when someone's sole job is to be prosecuting people. There's a problem with that. That's what that dude does all day, every day. I went to a court trial. I sat from beginning to end, right? From the very beginning opening statements to the closing arguments. I sat the entire way. That dude was not routed. That dude did it. You know, I was convinced. I went in, I'm like, let's see. I know the victim, but I'm very much I know what they're saying, but let's see. And they proved it, that if that dude did not do that, that was the most unlucky dude, and he should be serving the time for it anyway. I don't know, because that was they said exactly what happened, you know. But there is a problem. That dude's a professional, and then when it came time to his defense, you know, we went out. It was over Labor Day weekend too, so it was a long weekend. We had, you know, whatever. We went out on Friday, and I seen the defense lawyer, and I go, oh man, the state rested, and I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to hear what you guys got going on Monday. You know, like, I can't wait to hear how you're gonna defend this. And he's like, well, we'll see. And I'm like, okay, you know, I'm like, just not really anything. I wasn't like, you know, trying to anything. I'm just encouragement, you know, or whatever. I came in on Tuesday, and he basically stood up and was like, the defense rests, and then sat down, and then the dude was convicted.
Wow.
I mean, like, it's more the defense problem. Really, you get what you pay for, and this dude clearly didn't have the money to be paying for a heavy defense. They didn't even try. Like, they didn't even say nothing. They barely cross-examined people. I mean, it was crazy. Too.
Well, well, like you said, it's his entire job is to prosecute people, but then defense lawyers' entire job is to defend people. So
But it's different because they're not guaranteed that necessarily guaranteed that salary, retain or they're how that works for the state.
what is that noise?
Did you say fiber?
Is that you or is that Tom? Oh, it's Gabby.
It's Gabby. What's going on?
Oh, is that you, Tom? Are you...
So I've put
Yeah.
the kettle on bloody loud.
Right, yeah, okay. It's Tom. It's not you, Gabby.
I was gonna say I thought he turned his wife's vibrator on. She's got that big old gas powered one. Cause y'all live in medieval England, right?
Medieval England. No.
Medieval?
No, not medieval.
Man, that would sound so stupid. No, it's easy. They can literally. I thought about that, man. If anybody close to you dies under any kind of mysterious circumstances, anybody close to you goes missing at all, you are under suspicion, and you better have alibis and 100% memory, and you better know how you're expected to act in that situation.
Yeah,
They'll
just
convict you.
ask for a lawyer immediately if they try and take you, and never talk to the police without a lawyer, especially if you're innocent.
Lawyer. Oh yeah, and that's another one. I watched this one. I've been watching a few. I do like Kendall Ray gets tossed in there every once in a while. But This Is Monsters and Beyond Evil are a couple I've been listening to. And there was this dude, as soon as his wife went missing, and as soon as the police came to his door, he's like, I need a lawyer. And and whatever person I was listening to, I had to get rid of Explore With Us because I didn't like how they were doing it. They put in them clinical psychologists, and there's like a whole bunch of lists of credentialed, people that can assess what's going on, and they show the interrogations. That might be a good one if you like that, How to Make a Murderer. You watch that, and they literally do, and that's what got me on this. But they analyze your behavior, and they decide that if you scratched your nose like this, that you're lying, and that if you're, like right now I'm lying because I'm shifting on my anchor points, and if I talk to you with my hands out, I'm begging you to believe what I'm saying. And I'm like, oh my God, these are real police officers doing this. These are really people's lives that they're messing with.
It's awful. I'll start watching Explore With Us as well. I think they've gone downhill.
I didn't catch the first part.
I said I've given up watching Explore With Us as well. I think they've gone downhill.
Oh man, I don't know. I don't watch them chronologically. I just have a mix, and YouTube knows I'm into true crime. And I don't know. They were enraging me, and they were saying I was catching inconsistencies. Where it's like we can tell that she didn't stop because of the there were skid marks, and if she would have tried to stop, there would have been skid marks. And then in 2 episodes later, they're like, we can tell they tried to stop because of the skid marks. And I'm like, you can't have it both ways. That same evidence. I mean, like, I guess maybe there's 2 different ways to say that, but that sounds like you just said 2 different things mean the same thing. And at that point, I can't trust any of your evidence.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%.
I went for jury duty. You want to know how to get out of jury duty?
Show any sign of intelligence whatsoever.
Absolutely, but you want to know how to get dismissed immediately. Get that they can't wait for that red pin to mark your ass off. You state black Blackstone's ratio. And they all know what that is, Blackstone's ratio. And as soon as you say that, drop that name. That's the name you drop, Blackstone, and you get marked off immediately. And that's the one that says better that 10 guilty men go free than one innocent man suffers. And as soon as you say that you're gonna have to prove that you're gonna have to prove that they're guilty to me. They're like, no, we're cool. They want people that go with their like guts and
I
don't know who. What do you think of the professional jury?
No, I like the way it works at the moment. I don't think anybody should or could do it for a profession. I don't know. Just the random picking from the electoral register is about as impartial as it gets, and I really like that. I think if you had professional, there must be a reason why they don't, and I think they'd try and spotlight. You'd human beings base their world on their experiences so much of the time, and if you had a professional paid jury who did it over and over again, they'd say, "Oh, I've seen this before. This is like this. This case is similar to that case," and you just can't afford that sort of foreknowledge that could actually. I don't know. I'm just guessing. I'm thinking out loud. I'm not even sure I'm right. I could just see it being a problem. Experience being a negative in this case.
I do. I see it being a problem. I mean, I can see the benefit of it because there would be more of a, but then it's like, it's back to it being a job. Yeah, you're right. It's not, I've always disagreed with them. I can see the benefit and why people would suggest it because when there's like matters of a law or like what you said, experience. Because honestly, my experience says that it's really hard for me to convict somebody of some shit. Like it's really hard for me. I've been watching these. There's a boy. If I'm ever president, there's a lot of pardons coming. There are some people that Lisa Montgomery, that bitch. I'm glad. And if you don't think Donald Trump did one good thing in his presidency, if you are totally against Donald Trump, you look that up and see what he did to Bobby Joe Stanton and what she did, this Lisa Montgomery, what she did to Bobby Joe Stanton, and Donald Trump did at least that one good thing that bitch ain't no longer with us, Lisa Montgomery.
Well, why would we want to look it up when you can tell us all about it? I just need to get my noodles. But
you want to know what her media nickname was? Lisa Montgomery, you want to know what her media nickname was? She actually got one.
What was it?
Womb Raider. The Womb Raider. Yeah. Look, that one's sinking. Donald Trump got her that injection. She deserved that shit. What did you think was gonna happen, bitch?
I don't know. This is all a bit heavy.
It is. So, something light. You can talk about my South Dakota vacation. Where the heck is Law Jug? So I had got these postcards while I was in South Dakota. I got these specifically to mail to somebody. Like it was the mailman. I wanted to get them while I was in South Dakota. I wanted to get them mailed to him. I don't know his address, but I thought I could just get him general delivery to his post office, right?
Yeah.
So, do you think that that's too much? I've been sitting on them for a while. Do you think it'd be too much if I actually sent these general delivery? Or do you think I should find someone else to send them to?
No, I think it'd be alright, just general delivery. Right. I mean, it's nothing really bad, is it?
Not too creepy. Stalker-ish.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be like you to be worried about someone thinking that of you, Gabby. I'm not saying you're a stalker. I'm saying I don't think you'd particularly care if someone accused you of being that. Because normally you'd be like, hey, fuck you, or whatever.
Maybe, but not really. No, in real life, this is me on the internet. You know how the internet is. Like, I can be a little freer with Richard because Richard knows I'm never going to be in his bushes. Like, never. But, like, you know, to be like this with someone over here, I want to live peacefully in my real life. You know, like, you guys can block me. You guys can block me and never see me again. I don't have a passport. I'm not showing up on either. We are not doing a reverse conquest over here. You know, I'm never ending up in either one of y'all's bushes. If I'm in y'all's houses, it's because y'all invited me, right? Like, and there was like a whole big process, and you know, there was like shit going on if that happens, right? Like, but this guy, it's like, you know how easy it would be for me to sit in my car and just sit and watch him all day, walk up and down. And then I could just pull him back to the post office and sit there. And if I didn't want to, I wouldn't be seen. And for him, it's a real possibility that I could. I mean, he don't know me. He doesn't know me, right? From anyone else. So, like, to him, it's a real possibility. I could be sitting in his bushes. I could be looking in his windows trying to watch him sleep. You know?
Just quickly, carry on, Gabby. I'm going to start eating these. These are the hottest noodles I've ever found. They pack an almighty punch, and I'm going to brave them and make you all laugh by putting myself in excruciating pain while I eat them. But Gabby, sorry, you carry on.
Okay.
Is this going to be mukbang? You want to go get some mukbang? Here, you want me to pull out my... I'm just going to drink from this bottle right quick while y'all are doing this, right? Is that what we're going to do? We're going to mukbang.
See, that phrase, y'all, Y''ALL, it's when I type that in any message that I'm sending to anyone, I know that I'm absorbing too much of the language I'm hearing and turning it into the language I'm typing. I mean, do that one more time and I'll have Dexter Holland turning up on my doorstep telling me I'm pretty fly for a white guy.
Is that the guy from The Offspring?
Yeah.
He's getting a tattoo. Yeah, he's getting work done. He asked for a 13, but they gave a 31.
Yeah, just that kind of thing. And
I was rolling up to my homie. I was rolling up into my homie's house yesterday, and YouTube liked to play White and Nerdy for me just as I was pulling up.
What exactly is a homie? I know it's used a lot in that show, the one about the autistic boy. I forget it. It's probably Netflix or something. About a family. Mum has an affair. The boy's autistic in it.
I might have seen that.
It's called Atypical. That's it. They use the word homie in that a lot. You're my homie. Hey, you may have unhomied me, but I never unhomied you. And
well, I don't know how they use it because it's actually changed. But when I asked that in like the second grade or something, and it was like your homeboy or your homegirl. It's just a homie, you're like someone like, I would say someone who you would who you would invite into your home.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
like a home. But honestly, really, it's a stand-in word for a word that you and I aren't allowed to say. So instead of saying that word, we're not allowed to say. You say homie. What's up, homie? Yeah. What's up, homie? You get.
Yeah.
I don't know how many of those you got people that they can say that over there. You know, that exercise their free speech over there. I grew up around that, and if you think about that, you know, like listen to a rap song, and it's just a stand-in. It's kind of like a white way, but it's more like a black way because there are black people who don't like using that word either. So instead of saying that, like brother, it's just another stand-in for, you know, dude.
Hmm.
So,
Good stuff.
but it's like, to me, like I said, to me, it'd be someone who you would allow into your home, or that you would go into their home, because you don't go into everyone else's home. You don't let everyone into your home. You don't let everyone into your home, and you don't go into everyone's home. And if you want to know why, roaches and bed bugs. Roaches and bed bugs. Think about that while you eating them hot ass noodles.
Sounds like a dystopian sequel to Bed Knobs and Broomsticks. Roaches and bedbugs.
Bed bugs and roaches, roaches and bed bugs. Dude, I don't know what it's like in England. It's getting bad over here. It's bad, and most of my homies got something fucked up going on around here. It's like, no, as soon as you go into someone's house, got that shit, you probably got that shit too. It don't matter. Sit on that couch. You drive by. If you ever have bed bugs and you throw your shit out, make sure you slash it like a murder victim. Make it your murder victim. Don't let anybody come and grab that up off the street, because there's poor fuckers that'll come grab that up off the street, and you can't do that to someone else. I mean, like, if you've never had that, I've seen it. It's horrible. Bugsy back in the crime days, back in the old gangster days, Bugsy Malone. I'm pretty sure it was. He was named that because he had bed bugs. The way he acted, they knew he had bed bugs when he was growing
I thought
up.
it was because he was always twitching and stuff.
Yeah, that was a bed bug. He was twitching and stuff because he had bed bugs when he was growing.
Who is this?
Bugsy Malone.
Oh.
Pretty sure it's Bugsy Malone. And he got pissed. He didn't like getting called Bugsy. He knew it was a jab at the fact that he grew up poor and had bed bugs when he was younger. The bed bugs aren't a rich problem, and the reason they're not a rich problem is because the rich have a way to get rid of them. They can send in the troops with their chemicals and their heat lamps and their, you know, it's not a rich people because they can afford to. Most people can't afford to get rid of them, so they keep them. And then they're like brain chemistry ulcers.
I think that'll wrap us up for this week.
Okay.
Unless there's anything else.
No, we're all good.
Yeah. That'll
Are we
wrap us
gonna
up
be-
for this week. We will return next week, despite the hopes of many. It is good night from me, and it's good night from them. Good night, everyone.
Night, people.
Night.